When you think about focusing, you think, well, focusing is about saying yes. No, focusing is about saying no. Steve Jobs. One of the very first things that Steve Jobs did when he returned to Apple was narrow the company's projects from 350 to only 10. Hi friends, today we're going to talk about some simple yet powerful ideas from one of my favorite business books, The One Thing by Gary Keller. Multitasking can be such a smoke screen when it comes to productivity. It feels like we're doing a lot, but in this book, the authors mention office workers get distracted every 11 minutes, and they spend 1/3 of their day, 1/3, recovering from the distractions. Are you okay to lose 1/3 of your day, 1/3 of your week, month, quarter, year, life? The secret to getting ahead is getting started. Secret to getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks and starting on the first one. What should that first task be, right? We have discussed previously Pareto's principle. The majority of the results will come from a minority of actions. So we know that we have to sift through all our to-do actions and projects and narrow it down to a small list, right? The minority. Here comes the beautiful wisdom from the One Thing book. This is a focusing question. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? This question brings clarity in the macro level and the micro level. For example, I need to focus on my career. Or I need to really start focusing on this quarter when it comes to business revenue. So it gives us an overall direction. Now imagine asking that question early in the morning every day. What is the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? It will narrow your focus into the specific task here, now, that day. When he was really young, Michael Phelps, I think I'm pronouncing his last name okay, he's the well-known record-breaking athlete. He was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He could not focus very much and his teacher didn't really expect much of him. But what he did do, he did his best to channel all the focus and the discipline that he could master on one thing, one habit. And his one thing was to swim every day. We do that. We focus on one thing, one habit, and we master that before we move on to the next thing to build on. This way, we keep things simple and we keep ourselves focused. Now, to make it even easier, what the authors suggest on this book is to do that one thing at the time when your will is the strongest. And usually, for most of us, that is early in the day, early in the morning. The authors share some interesting research with Israeli judges and their parole decisions. In the beginning of the day, when the will is really high, the judges, they gave more favorable parole answers. And then as the day wore off and their will also wore off, then the judges tended to default into no parole answer. A couple more useful tips the authors give when it comes to mastering that one habit or that one thing is 1, to use visualization on it, and then 2, to use time blocks when it comes to performing that task or that habit. And I want to invite you, I have a playlist here where you can do a work with me, study with me, and in this particular video up here, I also talk in the break in the video about the exact steps that Michael Phelps used when it came to visualization, how he used that in his practice. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will become easier or unnecessary? We are going to keep it simple, right? One thing. And then to make it even more enjoyable, forward this episode to someone you want as an accountability partner so that they can hold you accountable and you can celebrate together the wins as you move forward on that one thing. If you enjoy the content of this channel, support it by subscribing to it and liking the episodes that you do. And I also invite you to read, if you like reading, or listen to in audiobooks, to the entire book, because there is so much information on it that I find pretty helpful in simplifying our daily actions in moving forward what we want. And until next time, friends, let's continue to pursue and to live our heart's desires in a way that is simple, intentional, and enjoyable. I'll see you really soon. Mwah.